I am Trevor, and I love horror. Join with me and subscribe me for daily stories. I lived in a very remote village. Most of time I was alone in the home. I was not a very social person, but I loved to read books. I used to visit a library in our village. It was a small library, but there were many ancient books in it. Some books older even 400 years. Most of time I read ancient architectural books. One day I went to the library, and as usual I picked an old architectural book. But I felt kinda bored, so wanted to choose another book. While I was choosing a book, I saw an old man coming to the library. But I haven't seen him before. He was wearing a black hat, his hair was grey, and he had a long grey beard too. And I saw there was an old strange book with him. He was reading that book. I badly wanted to check that book, because it seems very architectural and ancient. But I didn't want to talk with the old man. So I picked another book from the book rack and stared to read it. After 3 hours, I saw that strange old man leaving. But I saw that ancient-looking book was on the table where he was sitting. Yeah, he has forgotten the book. I could tell him that he missed his book, but I was very curious about his book from the beginning. When the old man left the library door, I quickly put that book into my backpack and I went home. I put the book in my book rack and I went to take a bath. After taking my dinner, I wanted to read the book. I laid on the bed and got the book. The book was written in 1765. Oh my god, it was fucking ancient, right? But it was kinda weird because what was written in the front page. Think twice before you read it. Why the heck is that? Whatever. Fuck it. The book had about 435 pages. The author was unknown, and the book was about some short stories. The name of the first story was My Little Doll Ginger. The story was about 3 pages, but it was like a silly bedtime story for kids. Why that old man was reading this silly book? I was thinking and I went to sleep. So I got up in the morning and went to kitchen to take my breakfast. At that time I heard the sound of my bell. It was just 6 in the morning. Who the heck was that? I said to myself. So I went to my front door and I opened it. But there wasn't anyone in there. I looked my garden and the road too. But there wasn't anyone. It was cold and outside, so I started going back to the inside. What the hell is that? There was something on my front door carpet. I went closer. It was a brown color bag. I got the bag and went inside. I sat on a chair, then I opened it. What the hell? It was an old doll, which was made by wood. It was about 1 feet tall, and it had large blue eyes and long black eyelashes. Its frock was red in color, and there were black dots on it. Its hair was brown, and the doll was smiling with its wide red mouth. That smile was kinda scary and creepy. I sat on a chair in the kitchen and looked more closer about the doll. I realized that the doll was very old, and there was a little pocket on her frock. What the hell? There was a little piece of paper in it. I read the paper. I am your best friend, Ginger. What? Ginger? Oh my God, it was the name written on that creepy book. But how's that possible? I was kinda scared. I threw that doll to the dustbin. And I started to think, is this a creepy nightmare? I was thinking for hours, but I couldn't get rid by thinking of it. I quickly went to the library, and I asked about that old man from Mr. Carl's, the bookkeeper. But he said that there wasn't any old man with a black hat and with a grey beard on yesterday. No way I saw him, I am sure. So I asked from the cleaner too. But he also said the same. I tried weeks for finding him, but there wasn't any old man like him. I burned that creepy book. Now it's been about 20 years from that incident, but it's still disturbing for my mind. How was that possible? Who was that man? Did he let me take that book? But why? Oh God, I can't understand. This event happened a long time ago. I had asthma, so I would sleep with my parents. The way my house was, my mom's room could see into the living room. Our living room was pretty small. Our TV stand was about 2 feet wide, leaving about 10 feet between it and our couch. It is a little blurry because I was very young. On to the story. It started one night when I had a nightmare. My mom always kept her door open, so I looked out of her door, and what I saw terrified me. I saw a small 2 to 3 foot tall humanoid figure run from my TV stand to my couch. I shrugged it off because I was a young child and thought I was seeing things. A few nights later the same thing happened. I again shrugged it off but was a little weirded out. It was the third it had happened, and I had to look at what it was, and I found nothing in the living room. I wanted to know what is really going on. So one day I was hiding in the kitchen, looking the living room. I waited for 5 hours. But I couldn't find any creepy thing. Was it a dream? No way. I saw it for 3 days. I didn't give up. I waited hiding in the kitchen in the second day. I was checking that thing for about 4 nights. But I couldn't. And it didn't come to our living room for 3 years. After 3 years, something creepy thing was happened. One night I woke up because I wanted to go to the bathroom. The time was 3:25. We must go through the living room for our bathroom. Suddenly I heard something moving in the living room. Then I slowly came to the living room. Oh my God, there was a something creepy thing standing near the TV stand. It was about 2 feet tall. I couldn't recognize any face because it was dark. It was looking at me. I was shocked and started to shivering. It was like a 2 or 3-year-old baby stood up. Suddenly it started to come close to me. I slowly moved backwards. I was too scared and I screamed. Then it ran away to the kitchen. My parents came, and I told them that something creepy thing was in the kitchen. We searched the kitchen and the whole area, even our garden. But we couldn't find anything. It was the last time I saw it. Now it's been 15 years. To this day I have no idea what ran across my living room. Was it a ghost? Or an alien? No one can explain. While going to college for broadcast communications, I got my first radio job at a little Christian radio station in the Midwest. I was basically a board operator. It means queued up the broadcasts and spoke the call letters at the top of the hour. The majority of the broadcasts were pastors preaching a service at a local church, which was recorded on a cassette tape. It was the 90s and brought into the radio station to air during the church's time slot. I liked working there. Sundays were the best because no one was in the building and it was really quiet and peaceful. We had one particular church, we'll call it Christ Temple, who always brought their cassette in like 2 hours before airtime on Sundays. They were scheduled to air at 3 p.m. and Ken, the guy from Christ Temple, would always stroll in around 1 p.m. with the tape. It kinda stressed me out that they would cut it so close to airtime, but Ken was extremely reliable and I never had a problem with him not showing up. But just in case, we always had a backup tape on file in the event he didn't make it in time. Ken was super friendly. Young guy. Only 26. One Sunday he showed up and spoke of having low blood sugar. I offered him some homemade candy that I brought into the station, but he declined. He left saying, "See you next weekend. I need to go find some real food. Sugar just makes it worse," and that was the last time I'd ever see him. During the week, I had a strange dream about Ken. In the dream, I was at work on a Sunday and was queuing up tapes. I kept looking at the clock and noticed it was getting later and later and Ken still hadn't arrived with the tape. Pretty soon, it was around 1:30 p.m. and I thought, wow, I wonder if I should queue up the backup tape. Then it was 2:30 p.m. and Ken still hadn't arrived, so I started to cue the backup tape and began to think about calling the church. Just as I was queuing up the tape, the phone rang and it was the church. I remember the man's voice in the dream exactly. "Hi Amber. This is James from Christ Temple. Please queue up a backup tape." Unfortunately, Ken died on Thursday night. His friend will be coming in to drop off several tapes for air during the next few weeks. Please don't try to talk with him. He is extremely upset about Ken's death. Then I heard a voice telling me that Ken had an unknown illness. I also saw his friend at home crying about Ken. I woke up wondering what led to such a strange, vivid dream. Sunday came and I was at work. 1 p.m. rolled around and Ken hadn't showed up. I thought this was eerily like my dream, but dismissed the thought and figured Ken was just running a little behind. Then 1:30 p.m. came and went. No Ken. I thought, wow, I may have to cue a backup tape, just like in my dream. 2:30 p.m. comes and I decided to cue up the backup, still fully aware of how similar this was to my dream. Just as I'm starting to cue the backup and think about calling the church, the phone rings and I pick it up. I swear on my life, it was the exact male voice, speaking word for word what he spoke in my dream, informing me that Ken passed away. He told me about his friend coming by, again saying please don't try to speak to him. He is extremely upset, etc. I just about passed out. I could not believe it. Ken's friend showed up and it was the same exact guy from my dream that I saw crying. This experience still blows my mind to this day. I have no idea why it happened. I don't know if there was some special purpose behind it. Apparently, they found him in his car on the side of the freeway. No signs of foul play. He just pulled over and died. I wondered if he had diabetes and didn't know it. I have no idea. They were performing an autopsy and investigating the cause of death. I told someone who was affiliated with the church about my dream. I never heard anything more about Ken. It was extremely sad. He was a very friendly guy. I think about this incident a lot. I'll never forget it. It trips me out to this day. I don't know where to turn or what to do. My mom keeps shrugging it off and saying it's nothing, and my brother barely talks to me about it anymore, but whatever has been going on has gotten worse for me. For some context, my brother used to see, which I can only assume is some kind of ghost, around the neighborhood. It was a black silhouette and tall. It didn't seem to walk but rather just stand there and switch locations sometimes. I'd only seen it once and it only appeared on late-night walks around a certain area of the neighborhood. When my brother was cleaning his room at one point he found this polished grey and black rock on the ground that neither of us had ever seen before. He thought it might be some kind of gift from it. He also saw a bunch of white silhouettes in a small field in the neighborhood. A little while ago he stopped talking about it, so I just assumed it didn't happen again. Now very recently, the front door banged open and there was whispering. Since no one that was at home was awake, all we had to see it was our camera. I'd always hear or see things occasionally, but I'd always shrug it off as my anxiety or something just fucking with me. But more recently I'd been hearing knocks and stuff with no possible explanation that I can think of. I'd normally dismiss this stuff as just animals or something. But recently I've been getting bad energy from most of the house, and it's been getting hard to sleep. Earlier tonight my stomach dropped cause I felt like something was in my room, even though it's just me and my cat. I also heard whispering. Unless someone else woke up, then I can't really think of anything, except maybe just my head getting ahead of itself. This happened in 2012 and has haunted me, filled me with love ever since. I woke up one Saturday morning and remembered dreaming about a friend, Dan, apologizing that we'd not spoken in a couple of months and saying goodbye. It made me smile because I missed him, and it was really nice to see him, even in a dream. I got up, went to meet my sister for breakfast, and while walking down the road I was logging onto FB to send Dan a message about the dream and just to say hi. I wouldn't normally be on FB this early, but I wanted to send the message while the dream was still fresh and happy. A mutual friend of ours had put up a status telling everyone that Dan had had an accident and died during the night. I couldn't believe what just happened. Even 8 years later, absolutely devastated. He was one of my favorite people who could make me smile without even trying. But I feel so comforted knowing that as he died he came and said goodbye. I didn't see him again from the dream, but I feel that he's with me sometimes. Normally I don't believe those kind of stuff, but now I have a strong faith about supernatural things. I've told only a few people about this because it means so much to me, but I'm not really sure anyone has truly believed or understood the significance of it.